How's that look to you? Kalen Bullock?
It took the linemen,
Yeah, in terms of the run defense.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is guy in a gap. The ball ends up running their gap. I mean, it's a little bit of everything, and that doesn't make it any better, right? But to say you got somebody there, why would the ball surprise you? If we put you in again, you can name the gap by letter, but your job isn't to be a cone in that gap. Your job is to make a play through that gap, and that's something I'm trying to instill in the guys. There's a couple times where we're kind of block magnets, where we run into another human being. It's a human being that's trying to run into you, and then we're surprised when the ball hits where you're supposed to be. So that happens at times, and then sometimes there's we call it eye candy with motions and that kind of create situations where maybe you don't have as good an eye discipline as you possibly can have, and that's college football. You're constantly in conflict, between the run and the pass. So we'll be in the same conflict this week, and then we got to make sure that that mentality's got to change that in terms of the expectation. I want to make a play through my gap, not simply be as close to my gap as possible. Hope the ball goes somewhere else.
Preparing for Washington State, triggered any memories from your time this week?
Oh, it certainly does. I mean, that logo meant the world to me. My family, and that's a great place, and we enjoyed our time there. But then beyond that, obviously, tell the guys, nameless, faceless, opposite color jersey, and you gotta go crank it up. That's a great place.
Shane Lee wasn't out at practice today. Are you guys anticipating not to have him this week?
Yeah, we'll play him if he's available.
Tyrone's produced pretty well in the time he's gotten. What's he shown you?
Yeah, playing a little bit more consistent than maybe he did early on. He does come with game experience. Obviously, it's one of those we brought along with us. You're kind of seeing a motor to him. We need to see more motor in practice. We'll see more confidence to give him additional work and additional reps. But willing to be physical. Kind of willingness to kind of run through blockers. And that's a real kind of issue for us right now. Is 1/11th. I think we've talked about this in terms of not allowing the opponent to get every play started. There's a couple examples there. I mentioned Tyrone, where it's run game or pass game. Where you've got to be able to be disruptive in the backfield. Obviously, you get a quarterback or running back on the ground, and he's shown well that way. He'll continue to get more work because of it.
What went into the decision to move solo to defensive end? What did you see that you thought would be effective there?
Yeah, geez, some of it just stemmed from trying to get some guys from a physical standpoint, close to the line of scrimmage. Some of it was just to try to get through spring. So some of it, the motivation probably wasn't as deeply thought out as it appears now because he's done so well there. But very quickly, what you found though was you saw a guy from a physical standpoint that likes to match. That puts hands on an offensive tackle and can hold up a tight end. Obviously has some athleticism from being a linebacker, and so you like that. And, just showed well. And so I'm not sure I knew he was a linebacker before. So no, I give him a lot of credit because it's not a position he's played a lot, but continues to he missed a bunch of time in fall camp, or I think he'd be even further along right now. Really a guy that I think can kind of take off in his second half for us. We need him to.
Five games in. What kind of grade would you give your defense? How do you feel overall?
Yeah, it's really hard to do, and I've always kind of taken the approach as a 1 week evaluation. And you just stick to that, and know that it's a different opponent this week, a different challenge. Obviously, there's some good, and I want to give the guys a lot of credit, for those things, and then some head scratchers as you go through it. That's not unique to us. There's some of the things if you're not careful, say, well, in year one, these things are to be expected, and that turns into an excuse. And so we don't want to give the guys the excuse, and we don't give the coaching staff that excuse. But you're seeing a group that's battling. We talk about takeaways. The guys are fighting for it. I think from an effort standpoint, I think that we've been checking that box from a physicality standpoint. Been fairly pleased. So I mean, there's some really good stuff that way. From a consistency standpoint, that's probably where you're failing grade. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So that's got to take off, and against a group this weekend in particular, both in the pass game, scrambling quarterback, and the ability to pop some explosive plays is going to really be tested.
You guys faced the scrambling quarterback in last week. What can you learn from that experience that can then be applied against Warwick this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the quarterback, extending plays they can make a bad play a good play real quick, and they can punish you for having good coverage. They can punish you for doing things right, which is the worst situation you could possibly be in defensively, and that's why everybody loves having scrambling court, and we certainly love having ours. So there's not a magic answer for it. I mean, one of the things is making sure when you got a chance to get them down, you got to find a way to, and you got to make sure as best you can in those situations. If you're not specifically in coverage, it's all hands on deck. So it takes 11 to defend the pass and be playable that way, and then continue to stay in coverage. And then obviously you got to get every other hat's got to find a way to get a shoot screen and try to get him on the ground.
Can you talk about what Max Williams has given you, maybe both on and off the field? I know you know his story and just what you've seen him over this season.
Yeah, it's done a really nice job for us. I mean, a guy that I know he's played a little bit in the past, but a bunch of injuries and that, but just steady. Comes to work every day and smart. I think he helps the other guys just from a communication standpoint. I think they like having him out there just simply from that, kind of put all their minds at ease. And he's shown pretty well for us. He really has, and then has had to play a lot of snaps for us just from a depth standpoint. And so I give him a lot of credit. Thrilled to have him. And I think he's like so many of these guys. I still think that his best football will be in front of him. But no, we're thrilled to have him be a part of this.